Hello and welcome to the weekly Kashmir University Video Digest Quest. First, a look at our highlights today. 11th Science Congress held at the university, and Guru Nanak Dev University lifts first Governor's North Zone debate competition. Now the details of all these events with your host Nisar Dharma. The 11th J&K Science Congress got underway in Kashmir University with inaugural function held at the Convocation Complex on 12th of October 2015. The theme of the Congress was social, scientific and economic dimensions of climate change. Around 600 to 700 research findings were presented by the participants during the three-day deliberation. Chancellor and the Governor of the state, Mr. Narendranath Vohra, inaugurated the Science Congress. Dean Research and the convener of the conference, Professor Sheikh Javed Ahmed, delineated prime objectives of the three-day conference.
The main objective of the present Congress is to bring together eminent scientists and researchers working in diverse fields of science and technology to debate on the pressing issue of climate change and its linkages to the local environmental problems. We have witnessed the cataclysmic events unfolding in front of us during the last few years, 2013 Kedarnath tragedy and then floods of 2014 in our state. I'm quite hopeful that proceedings of the Congress shall crystallize into a blueprint for policymakers to understand the issues related to climate change and formulation of adaptation strategies.
The Vice Chancellor, Professor Khurshid Iqbal Andrabi, opined that research plays an important role in improving the credibility of any institute.
Ladies and gentlemen, research is a fundamental mandate of a higher education institution like ours. Despite tremendous potential, we have somehow been complacent to have fallen short of excellence we all believe we're worthy of. With every gold standard of quality research now in place, it's about time we rise to the occasion and prove ourselves as best as we really are. Introduction of integrated MPhil PhD program, continuous monitoring and quality evaluation of student research, review of research misconduct or attempts to foster healthy and honest practices in our endeavors to help us improve upon our credibility further.
Professor Andrabi said the university has played an important role in facilitating the academic and faculty exchange program with foreign universities through GYAN programs of UGC.
My personal endeavor has been not to prepare myself with responses to uncomfortable questions, but to create an environment that such questions do not exist. Although it may take a while to meet with this objective, we're already on track with some humble initiatives to avoid such situations by means of empowering students with the right to question our evaluations, style of teaching, so on and so forth, with the sole intent to make our system as transparent as possible. This blends well with our general policy of inclusive governance without any compromise on honor and dignity. I must at the same time admit that I may have faltered in attending to many things as professionally as was desirable, but I must let all of you know that I have not fallen short of any attention to have the university figure among the top 26 universities of the country for Global Initiative on Academic Network, the GYAN program of the UGC. This program facilitates academic and faculty exchange with top foreign universities, and some of the universities in Canada have already shown on their portal the name of the University of Kashmir.
Professor Andrabi congratulated Professor Javed for being awarded APS Fellowship.
One of the finest researchers on campus, and as fine a human being, Professor Sheikh Javed, our worthy Dean Research, was recently honored with prestigious membership of American Physical Society. Ladies and gentlemen, this honor was in recognition of his extraordinary contribution in the field of physics.
Chancellor and the Governor of the state, Mr. Anand Vohra, stressed the importance of Science Congress in shaping up the science community of the state.
The Science Congress provides the university with an opportunity, a very valuable opportunity of indulging in an exercise which promotes the cause of science, which promotes the cause of scientists, which highlights the work done by researchers, which initiates and exposes young scientists to the senior and more eminent scientists, and creates an environment which ultimately contributes to the establishment of a scientific temper within the university, which should permeate and go across the university into the society, the people at large.
Saying that the implications of climate change cannot be ignored, Mr. Vohra urged state universities to come together to address the concerns arising out of climate change.
We have been talking about climate change for the past several years, and we are all conversant what the consequences will be. The projection is a change of 0.5 to 8.6 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. This is not a small change. Now, while we talk about it, we think it's just something theoretical, and after talking about it, we go home. So we have to now look at our scientific approaches to increasing productivity per unit, per hectare, and overall production in the country, with reference to the adverse factors which are now getting to be created because of climate change. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have scientific consequences, we have economic consequences, and consequently social consequences of how this change will affect the entire population, not only of our country, but of the entire world.
He also congratulated Professor Javed and Professor Shakil Ramshu for bringing laurels to the university.
Likewise, a few days ago, Professor Ramshu, who has been for many years now doing very good work in the area of environment, ecology, of various important issues which relate to climate change in the current context.
Dean Academic Affairs, Professor Muhammad Ashraf Wani, proposed vote of thanks.
That the Honorable Chancellor graced two important events of the university with his presence successively with a gap of only 1 day amply speaks of his deep-seated concern to see this university among the distinguished universities of the country, for which he is optimistic, considering the celebrated heritage of Kashmir as a great seat of learning. नहीं है ना उम्मीद इकबाल अपनी किश्त वहरां से जरा नम हो तो ये मिट्टी बहुत जरखेज है साकी.
An abstract book of Science Congress was also released on the occasion. Later, the valedictory function was held in which Minister for Information Technology, Maulvi Imran Raza Ansari, was the chief guest. The details of the valedictory function will be in our next episode of Quest. The Department of Students' Welfare organized the first annual Governors Inter-University North Zone Debating Competition. The 2-day debating competition was held in Kashmir University, and the theme of the debate was Laws are not powerless in preventing crimes against women and children. Students from Shri Mata Vaishno Devi University, Lovely Professional University, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar also took a part in it. Here are a few glimpses of the 2-day debating competition.
Let me tell you, I swear, I, standing here, I'm proud of her. I'm proud of Nirbhaya and her family because they believed in law. And if such kind of people can believe that laws are not powerless, I can stand firmly and say, no, laws are not powerless.
Women and children, the most beautiful, yet the most delicate part of the coin. They're always been subjected as the victims of the social evils. The question of the hour is that, can laws prevent this anarchy?
How many of us are comfortable with the laws? Talking about rape cases, dowry deaths, bride burning, acid attacks, and what not. They are mostly being unreported because women fear the laws. They fear what will happen with them if they go and seek justice. The judiciary system is very slow and lethargic. It takes 6 to 10 months for a single case to be tried.
I know all my opponents today are here and will be coming up with facts and figures and will be stating their arguments against the judicial system and not the laws. Because the laws that we have in the Ranbir Penal Code or the Indian Penal Code, they are literally flawless. They have no flaws at all. And I am here to prove that.
Talking specifically about the laws for women and children, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that's a complete failure. According to National Crimes Record Bureau census, a total of 2,44,000, 3,09,000, 3,33,000 cases were registered in 2012, 2013, 2014, respectively, under the crime against women, showing a rising trend.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is all the statistics provided to us by the NCRB, and if this is the only picture existing on the ground, I would rather prefer to say that our country is completely crime-free. But the statistics provided to us by the NCRB are only the incidences of crimes against women and children, or only those incidences of rapes, or only those incidences of burning brides, or only those incidences of buying and selling of girls for prostitution. There are only those incidences of kidnapping and abduction which were actually reported to the police and which were actually reported and put on record with the appropriate authorities.
And I guess laws without implementation are powerless, are useless, which certainly leads to adverse effects.
Even after 68 years of independence, we are still struggling with the issues of domestic violence, harassment, molestation, trafficking, and rapes, to name a few. In such a case, can the current day laws be powerful enough in reducing these crimes? I firmly believe no, not yet. As violence against women and children continues to grow in India, the law and the criminal justice system in many ways has failed in responding effectively to it.
The government allocates a paltry sum of rupees 633 crore for the protection of children. Is 633 crore enough to cater to all those 50,000, 1 lakh children who are working in hazardous industries, all those children who are victims of human trafficking, of child sex abuse? There are so many children who are not able to come forward to their families and say, yes, there is a crime. Why? Because there is a lack of empathy, there is a lack of sensitivity of the society, of the family members towards such things.
Is it that laws are powerless? It's not like that. The fault lies somewhere else. The fault lies in us. We should stop just pointing the fingers at the law and all. We should look at ourselves. What are we doing? Like Aristotle had it very right. He said that laws are orders. Orders are backed by institutions, and good orders are backed by good institutions.
Here, most of the people confused because they represented the statistics provided by the NCRB. They confused two things: crime reduction and crime prevention. Most of they say that if the rate is going higher, it means that crime is increasing day by day. Yes, it is increasing, but the rate going downwards, that doesn't mean that crime is being prevented. It means that there is a reduction of crime. It doesn't mean prevention of crime. When there is a prevention of crime, how can you report it in the NCRB when it will not be going into the persons that we have been prevented, the crime is prevented, that then the person is not going to report it.
When we do have laws for every such act, then why are we still facing such problems? My dear friends, the answer to all such questions is that the problem is not with our legal system or the laws, but the problem is with our thinking, with our mindset, and above all, with our moral teachings. We have got a habit of criticizing laws and the law enforcing agencies. But no one can deny the fact that no law can be successful without the contribution of the people.
How can we say law is powerful when punishment to a criminal does not prove to be deterrent for others? Had law been powerful, then the event which happened just 2 weeks before in Kanyar had not been repeated again in Shopian just 3 days before, where once again, one more woman was being put to death.
Ladies and gentlemen, our government cannot be thought of being in slumber. They're not asleep. We've passed many laws and acts regarding children in order to provide them with a better aid, with a better surrounding, and a better livelihood.
In spite of so many laws, Bonded Labor Act, Factories Act, protection of children against sexual harassment, nothing significant have been achieved. 5 out of 10 children face abuse. 2 out of 5 children face harassment. 1 child goes missing every 8 minutes. How are laws preventing crimes then, when statistics shows a clear rising trend?
Frequently not adequately punished. At each crucial stage, the system has enough loopholes and inefficiencies to allow the guilty to walk away with impunity.
The truth of the matter is that we need to stop looking at things in black and white. What we need to focus upon is on the progress that we have made. And this progress, my dear friends, would have certainly not been possible without a powerful and evolving legal system. I would go so far as to say that a powerful legal system is the only means, I repeat, the only means of empowering women and children in the country.
The winning trophy was lifted by Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar students Gurpriya, Kritika Khanna and Seerat Baji. The first prize went to Gurpriya, second to Kritika Khanna and third to Taqwa Yusuf from Central University of Kashmir. Nishid from Government College for Women, MA Road, Srinagar and Slivika Thakur from Jammu University bagged the first and second consolation prize respectively. Speaking on the occasion, Dean Students Welfare, Professor Nilofer Khan, praised all the participants for their thinking and debating skills.
Since it was a debate of North Zone, that is, laws are not flawless against crime of women and children, a very important topic to deliberate upon. And as, sir, you must have seen the highlights, we had very good speakers, very brainstorming speeches by them, very thought-provoking speeches by them, which in fact will go a long way in order to find solutions to the crime against women and children.
Dean Academic Affairs, Professor Muhammad Ashraf Bani, while praising the Chancellor for this effort, said that such types of debates help individuals in developing their potential.
God has created different people with different innate capabilities, and therefore it is natural that we should have such an inclusive and wholesome environment in the educational institutions which help cultivating and developing these innate potentialities which are specific to individuals. Certainly, it is with this aim of prompting the university to create and promote different spaces of inclusive growth and development of the society that the Honorable Chancellor sponsored this debating competition event.
The Vice-Chancellor, Professor Khurshid Iqbal Andrabi, advised students that if human values are not respected, education is nothing.
I think it would be sort of very unfortunate on our part to expect atrocities against women in these modern times. You would still be able to digest this kind of attitude in prehistoric times. But then the implication under those circumstances were given that we were perhaps educationally and backward without any essence, without any knowledge of human values. But then, if we have grown up educationally, grown up intellectually, what has somehow blunted the system to leave this aspect out, and or we are faced with a situation the way we are in current times.
He impressed upon students that they must inculcate the values of their culture and should not blindly follow others' culture.
We learned from the West that bottle feeding to the kid was perhaps most appropriate thing to do. And then the West revisited the whole thing and then said that breastfeeding was the best thing to do on earth. And then we shifted over again to breastfeeding. The most important part is that we have our own values which are much, much more valuable than we think they are. Those values are family values. And if we let go of those values at the expense of adapting the Western values, I think the development wouldn't be as disastrous as it is today, especially in the context of women and children.
Chancellor and the Governor of the state, Mr. Anand Vohra, said that because young people bring in new ideas and fresh thinking, that's why he insists for conducting such debates in colleges and universities.
One of the reasons why I have been pushing this idea of frequent debates in colleges and universities is that it provides an opportunity to the students to be able to express themselves clearly, cogently, rationally in public. Another reason is that our youth is now competing to get employment in various domains of life, not only to become teachers, researchers, professors, but they go out into the wide world. They also compete for the All India examinations, and they pass through interview tests where cogency of expression within a brief period.
He said that those youth who come out from universities must have the capacity of critically analyzing the topics given to them.
It's very important that the youth which passes out of our universities and become leaders of tomorrow in various arenas of functioning, they know their mind. They have a clear insight, clear perception of what is right and what is wrong. And you cannot distinguish between right and wrong unless you have the power to critically analyze. And this entire business of debating, or even declamation contests for that matter, gives the students a wonderful opportunity not to cram something by rote and come and repeat it here, because the judges won't give you any prize for that. So therefore the power to think, the power to analyze, and power to project a thought, an ideology, a sentiment which is cogent, which is rational, and which is good for society, that is also very important.
Cultural Officer Mr. Shahid Ali Khan conducted proceedings of the event. With this, we come to the end of our today's program. In case you have missed some parts of Quest, log on to our website, emrckashmir.com, where you can watch them all. Send us your suggestions at our email address, quest@emmrckashmir.com. Before I take your leave, here are a few words of wisdom. Money is the honey of humanity.